Welcome to the August 11th Guilderland Board of Education meeting. If everyone could please silence their cell phones and stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, to start the meeting, we would like to welcome our two student ex officio members to come take their seat, and I have your oath to read and sign to join us for the Board of Ed, so come on up. Okay, William, if you want to go first.
I do solemnly swear that I will abide by the District Code of Conduct, treat others with respect, and fulfill the role of student ex officio board member per Board of Education policy, and do my best to the ability.
Thank you, welcome. Go ahead.
I do solemnly swear that I will abide by the District Code of Conduct, treat others with respect, and fulfill the role of the student ex officio Board of Education member per Board of Education policy, and to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Congratulations and welcome. Public comment, do we have public comment? Okay, no public comment. On to our presentations. Kelly, want to do an introduction?
Sure. I'd love to introduce Chief Master Sergeant Denny Richardson. He is recently retired from the Air Force and is here to talk about our junior ROTC program. He's currently runs a program in Schenectady. I've known Denny for close to 30 years now.
Sorry.
I can't believe it. He was our command chief at the 109th Airlift Wing. He was a New York State command chief for the Air National Guard, and then went to the 2nd Air Force in Florida as their command chief. Retired this year, and we're so happy to have him back in New York. So we met up a couple months ago now, and hatched a plan that we needed to bring a presentation to Guilderland to learn about the junior ROTC program and see what is possible. And I'll hand it off to Denny, and you can come right up here, Chief. Yeah, great. Thanks.
Great, thank you. That's a premature clap, right?
We've heard great things already.
It's to amp you up.
All right.
Let's go.
And speaking to the microphone, right?
Yes,
All right.
please.
I've been told I have a face for radio, so I'm going to use it. Good evening, everyone, and thank you. Thank you, Kelly, for the invitation, and thank you for allowing me to come here and to educate you a little bit on the Air Force Junior ROTC program. As Kelly said, I just retired 35 years from the Air Force, and all my colleagues that retired before me always said, you're going to struggle with finding your purpose. You're going to struggle with finding your new purpose. I was fortunate enough to find that purpose and becoming an instructor for junior ROTC. The young adults that we are educating today are bright. They are our future, and they have become my new purpose along with my fellow instructor that we're teaching with over in Schenectady. So to foot stomp this, I'm not here as an employee of Schenectady. I am not here as an employee of the Air Force. I am doing this on my own time, all right? So I am not getting paid for this, all right? I'm doing it because Kelly said, hey, can you please come down and talk and educate us on junior ROTC? So while I'm going through this, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to stop me. Because we're here to have a conversation and discussion so that we can educate you on this worthwhile program. So I have a video here. I don't know if that will work or not. Probably not.
This was a program for my son that
developed him in a greater fashion than any sport ever could do and brought him out in him more than I could ever do.
You have an opportunity to build something, to learn leadership skills, to do things that are going to benefit you in your future. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity that I had to join JROTC because it truly changed my life.
What personally drew me into junior ROTC and to drill team in general would be the work ethic. I realized how hard they worked for what they wanted in life. And for me, I realized that if you want to get anywhere, you have to work absolutely harder than everybody else before you.
We come out almost the entire year and we work really hard with one goal in mind, and that's we come out here to win. Everyone is dedicated and it's very competitive in the drill community, so that's something I definitely enjoy. And I enjoy that because building each other up is really one of my favorite things to do. I like to see when people I know do well.
The value of JROTC over any other thing is that it challenges you both mentally and physically in a way that sports or any other program would not.
It's shown me how to be a leader and how to lead people properly and making sure that things get done. And it's also shown me that you have to have integrity for everything that you do.
The single most important thing that I personally learned while being in junior ROTC is to just have confidence within myself. And now being on the drill team has helped me to know what it's like to work hard for something and to have great time management skills and to never give up on myself.
Apart from ROTC, it's like a family, and it's just a stronger bond that I feel I can be comfortable with no matter what.
Working as an individual doesn't get you where you need to be, but as a team, you can get up there, and the expectations you set for yourself, they can be exceeded.
Friends that I made there, the instructors and the young folks alongside my same age group are people that I still talk to this day, every single day, and I thank God for that.
All right, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. Sometimes a video and the words of our cadets can say it a lot more, a lot better than I can. I want to say something about that video. That video was all about drill team. All right, that's just one aspect of Air Force Junior ROTC. As you saw the drill instructor actually yelling in the face of one of the cadets. Please don't think that that's going to happen to your students each and every day. We will not be yelling in the face of your students each and every day. All right. We are not a recruiting program. All right. We are a program that builds citizens of character. As a matter of fact, we don't mention the word recruiting at all. Everything about our program is about preparing your young members, our young adults, to be successful in any aspect of life that they choose. We are not recruiters, and this is not a recruiting program. So there's going to be a lot of words on the screen. I'm not going to hit all these words. I put a lot of words on there because I want to give you as much information as possible. So we're going to leave this slide presentation with you. My contact information will be at the end on the last slide. If you have any questions at all after this presentation, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. If you have questions. So here's some of the overview of some of the things that we're going to be covering. And I know everyone is interested in that last bullet statement there, program costs. so we're going to close out with the program cost, but these are all the things that we're going to cover in the next 10 minutes or so. All right, so the mission of Air Force Junior ROTC is to develop citizens of character dedicated to serving our nation and community. I have a few words in the vision statement actually highlighted, but the words that I want you to take away from this is that we provide quality citizenship, character and leadership development programs for our young men and women. The enduring partnerships and relationships, I think you heard one of the instructors actually say it in there in the video. The cadets continue to come back to us. So when they graduate, they don't just leave the program, they actually continue to be engaged with not just us, but engaged with their community as well. All right? Community service is a big part of what we do in junior ROTC. Last year in Schenectady alone, we actually accomplished 1,200 hours of community service. That's 1,200 hours for one unit and one school. All right. So this is our mission. This is our vision. We are there to develop citizens of character. That's our number one goal and our number one priority. All right. So here's some of the little bit more about the Air Force Junior ROTC program. We are, when you see Title 10, United States Code, congressionally mandated, that simply means that we are a federally mandated program. All right, so all the funding that we receive is provided to us federally. All right, so all the uniform items, all the equipment, all the gear, all of that is paid for by the Air Force from our federal budget. All right, more than 900 units across the United States, more than 80,000 cadets, and more than 1,800 instructors. All right, here's some of the things, some of the successes for junior ROTC. The diversity piece, all right, there are more than 40% females that are a part of the program. I told you about the community service from one school. The whole entire program is averaging 1.6 million hours a year in community service. Right? We are not recruiters. However, if a cadet comes to us or a student comes to us and says, hey, I want to pursue going into the Air Force, this program will benefit them. All right, the numbers that you see as far as the Air Force benefit is concerned, BMT stands for Basic Military Training. That means 4.3% of the cadets that decide to go into the Air Force that actually leave the program actually go off to basic military training. Air Force Academy, that's one of the four service component academies. 18% of our cadets actually go on to join the Air Force Academy. That is a huge number just for being associated with the program. Air Force ROTC, all right? Junior ROTC is for the high school level. ROTC is for the collegiate level, right? So we have 13.7% of our cadets that actually say, hey, I want to do this further. I want to go to college and continue to be a part of ROTC. And so they do. We actually have an ROTC, Air Force ROTC college right now, backyard, RPI. All right, so RPI has an actual Air Force ROTC unit associated with them. And officer training school, that's when you want to go off to be an officer. We have 2% of our cadets that actually have gone on to officer training school to actually be an officer. STEM focus, I'll show you some of the things that we do as far as the STEM focus is concerned in the later slide. The bottom line is that we generate goodwill. All right, the Air Force core is integrity first, service for self, and excellence in all we do. And that's the foundation of our program here for Junior ROTC. Okay. Why Air Force Junior ROTC works? Because it's built off of the military model. All right. We teach your young adults to be leaders from day one. And the military model is based off of the 12th graders, once we establish the program, actually educating and helping us develop and train the 9th graders that are coming in. All right, so each program is like a military hierarchy. So we have a commander, a vice commander, a director of operations, an executive officer, a logistics officer. Everyone has a job and something to do. All right, and so that builds confidence. We challenge them. We push them outside their comfort zone, because when you're outside your comfort zone, what's happening? Growth is happening. All right, so we challenge them on a daily basis, and we push them we kind of push them to failure, but we push them to failure in a safe zone where we can help them recover as well. All right, so this is why it works. A strong emphasis, as I said before, on service to school, community, and to our nation. The instructors, as I stated before, we are long-term role models. When they graduate, they always come back. They always come back because they want to give back to the program. We allow them to come back to speak to the new cadets, to continue to be a part of something that they helped establish and they helped build. All right, here's some of the activities that they can be involved in. All right, now, all of these programs are not at every school or at every unit. All right, there are 4 of them up there that are pretty much the standard across every junior ROTC program. Drill Team and Color Guard, the Raider Challenge, the Flight Academy, and field trips and leadership courses. Those are the 4 basic ones that are pretty much prevalent in all the units. All the other ones depends on the school district. It depends on the cadets themselves, what they want to be involved in. Because we allow them to actually go out and say, okay, hey, we want to have a robotics program here. And once they say that, that's when we start setting that into motion, all right? So it's not something that we force on them. It's what the cadets actually want to do. So we give them a lot of flexibility to help build this program, not just for them, but for future cadets that's going to come after them as well. I want to highlight the Flight Academy, all right? Schenectady had 3 members that actually attended the Flight Academy. And the Flight Academy, the Air Force actually funds this, and they send their cadets away once a year for 8 weeks during the summer, and they go off to a flight academy, and they actually learn how to fly an aircraft. So our 3 cadets that we actually put through that program, they can fly a plane before they can drive a car. All right, so that is that's another huge benefit, for Air Force, having an Air Force Junior ROTC program. All right. Instructors, here's the instructor roles. We're certified by the Air Force, but the instructors are employees of the school district. All right, so the Air Force is responsible for vetting us, making sure that we're certified instructors, but also making sure that we are cleared and we have the certification and we're cleared through fingerprints and everything to be around your young students. All right, so if we go through that and the Air Force and the school district says, hey, you got to do this for us, then we do it for the school districts as well. So we actually do it twice to make sure that we meet the standards and qualifications to be around your young adults. All right? It takes 2 instructors to actually manage a program or to stand a program up. My position over at Schenectady, I am the senior aerospace science instructor, and then I have another person under me who's the aerospace science instructor. So, so the whole program actually falls on my shoulders. And then my second in charge, he's normally the one that's in the classroom actually doing the logistic works and actually doing the instructions. All right, here's some more of our responsibilities. I'm not going to bore you with all this, but we are still required. The bottom line is that we're still required to maintain all Air Force standards. Even though we are technically retired from the Air Force, we're still required to follow all the grooming standards, dress and appearance standards, and all the other expectations that's required to be called an airman or be a member of the Air Force. Here's the commitment for your students. All right, so your students they have to commit to wearing a uniform once a week. At least, adhere to the Air Force grooming standards. Now, everyone says the Air Force grooming standards, they got to shape. No, they don't have to do this, all right? They do not have to do this, but as long as it's close, we are very, very lenient when it comes to the grooming standards, all right? Piercings, you can't have as many piercings in the nose, things like that. The fingernails. For the females, all right? We make sure that they have to adhere to that, but we're not as strict as we are in the military. So don't think that every one of your students are going to come home with a buzz cut, all right? That's just not going to happen, all right? They have to participate in weekly fitness training, as well as weekly drill and ceremony, which teaches that discipline and also teamwork. And once again, uphold the Air Force core values. I have a picture over the word integrity, service before self, and excellence in all we do. All right, that's the foundation of the Air Force. That's the foundation of Air Force Junior ROTC. Here's some of the benefits of the program. Provides that discipline, structure, and leadership. Helps build citizens of character. Community involvement. I'm going to continue to foot stomp that because being involved in your community, it shows that service before self. All right, it shows that a member, that our young adults are putting their community above their own needs. And so they're actually going out and they meet so many folks when they're out there in the community. They meet some of our congressional delegates, some of the town hall members. Every time the superintendent sees the junior ROTC members out, he has to get pictures with them, because they appreciate, what these young members are actually doing for the community. So, military path, like I said before, we are not recruiters. There is no requirement for these members to join the military. However, if they decide they want to, guess what? It's going to benefit them. They're in the right place. They're going to join the military with higher rank and actually higher responsibilities as well. All right? That sense of belonging and that team dynamic. That's one thing that we preach. Not everyone's a star athlete. Not everyone is a scholar or a talented artist. All right, we bring another avenue or another part to the young members, or give them another option to be a part of a team. All right, because that's what we preach. We preach team dynamics. So here's the program requirements. All right, there is a memorandum of agreement. So if you decide to say, okay, we want to have this program here in Guilderland, all right, there's a process. There's an application process. It's not that difficult. We can provide you with all that information. But then that memorandum of agreement is actually signed as an agreement between the Air Force as well as the school district. I just pulled out a few things that folks normally have questions about. Dedicated classroom and office for the instructors, bus transportation. That bus transportation is only a requirement for twice a year. That's it. So we do what we call curriculum in action, where we'll take the cadets on field trips to other bases. We've done trips down to the 9/11 Memorial, down to Washington, D.C. to see the monuments, and all walks in between. So that's what the bus transportation is provided for. I go back to those partnerships as well. We also have created partnerships with the 109th Airlift Wing, where if we don't have a bus, if the school districts can't provide the bus, the 109th Airlift Wing is willing to step up and say, okay, hey, we have a bus that we can help transport your cadets or your students to where you need to be. All right. Drill and ceremony space, 2,500 square foot is required. However, it doesn't have to be dedicated space. It can be shared space. All right, and that the program only needs it once a week, and that's just for practice and drill and ceremony. All right, climate control storage facility. All the equipment and gear that the Air Force is providing is required. 400 square foot is required. The program is required to maintain 50 students in the program or more in order for the program to the Air Force continue to fund the program. All right, it used to be 100, they dropped it to 50. I can tell you this right now, Schenectady has been averaging around 115 students per year. Last year we had 114 in the program. All right, so I get this question a lot, well, what if we get 150 or what if we get 200? There's really no limit. It's all what the instructors are able to handle. If you get to be 100, if it gets to be 150 or more, then the Air Force is going to come down and say, hey, I think you guys need one more instructor. All right, so that 150 mark is the max for 2 instructors, But can you go 200? Yes, you can go 200, but know that it will require another instructor. Right? And to hire at least 2 instructors. So with that 50 cadets, you need to have at least 2 instructors on staff. Right? Program costs. All right, here we go. The last slide, then the most important slide. So approximately $175,000 for 2 instructors. However, the Air Force pays half of that. The Air Force pays half of that. So you are literally getting a program that has high impact for low cost. All right. The Air Force covers the uniforms, covers the equipment, covers everything else. There is no hidden cost whatsoever. All right. The only thing that the school district is required to pay is half of the salary, and the Air Force pays the other half. Right? All right. Well, that's my spiel. So the Air Force Junior ROTC program, once again, we are not recruiters. We are here to build productive citizens. All right. We challenge our young men and women. We make them better. Their growth, in this program is phenomenal. And we are looking forward to I'm looking forward to answering any questions that you may have to help make this a reality for the Guilderland School District. Yes, ma'am.
So my first question is, if we did have a banner year and we had 200, would the cost still be split for that third instructor?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Great question.
And then also, what's the difference between Air Force, Junior ROTC, and the other branches?
There is no difference, so if you came and you said, hey, I want to have Marines or I want to have Navy, the only difference is that you have Marines, you have Navies, they all have their own core values, and their way of doing things. So there is no difference. RPI actually has all 4 branches at RPI as well. So, and one thing that I failed to mention since we're on that topic of RPI is the scholarship program. There are several scholarships that are available to your members just for being associated with Junior ROTC. We've had a member that actually went on and got a full ride at RPI for 4 years, with a, just for being associated with this program. However, at the college level, that also requires a service commitment. All right, so if you go on the college level and you go for 4 years, then you're saying that, okay, I'm going to go do 4 years in the Air Force when I'm done with my degree at RPI. All right, but with us, no military commitment whatsoever. You can graduate and you can go about your business with everything that we just taught you to do, that we just shared with you. So, yes, ma'am.
Do you also act, there are other service options, right, that are federal. Do you, like AmeriCorps, for instance, do you talk to the kids about those options?
Yes,
and
we do. Yeah, and so we have guest speakers come in, and the guest speakers cover a wide variety of opportunities for the young cadets. So we're not just military. All right, we're not just having military folks come in and speak with the members. So we have members that come in from all breadths of experiences. So yeah.
If you need a Peace Corps volunteer.
All right, you got it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, I got a lot of hands up. I didn't think I was going to get this many questions, but go ahead.
All right, so the first question I have, thank you, by the way.
No problem, man.
It's lovely
Yes,
meeting
yes,
you.
ma'am.
So regarding the recruitment, or when, not recruitment, but when the students register to sign up for it, there's an application process, I'm assuming, or is there an age that or grade level that they're eligible to apply to that?
And so it's for 9th to 12th grade, all right? There is no, the only thing so it's an elective, all right? So students can volunteer, and they get one elective. All right. The only thing that the students that we have for the students to sign is that agreement, and that agreement actually says there's an agreement between the instructors, the student, and the parents that they are able to participate in this program, that they're going to follow the grooming standards, they're going to take care of the uniform items that we give them, but that's it. Yes, ma'am.
So just a few more follow-up. So that's great. So that definitely begins the discipline aspect of it. So along those lines, is there a curriculum that follows throughout those years, and
Yes.
can they add in later? And then the training for the instructors, is that something that's done obviously externally? So if it's a district hired employee, but it's also federal, and then just to also ask about the funding from the federal government, is there a certain department that's affiliated with as well?
All right. Okay. So
It's a few questions.
let me see if I can get all these right.
I can break them down. if you want.
So, okay, so the funding from the federal government, yes, it's coming all the way down from the Department of Defense. All right, so it's federally funded, so all the funding and is managed at Maxwell Air Force Base, which is in Montgomery, Alabama. All right, so we have regional directors, and we also have a whole staff at Maxwell Air Force Base that actually is responsible for the entire Junior ROTC program. So they manage all the funding, and then depending on the funding is distributed depending on how big your program is. All right, so we get so much money per cadet that is in the program. And then towards the end of the year, of course, they have fallout funds, and they say, all right, and they always give it to the units that are building new programs. And they say, okay, here's some fallout funds for you as you're starting to establish your program. I can say for Schenectady, our budget was probably around $18,000 a year. As far as funding is required, as far as funding goes, because the uniform equipment items are so expensive, and believe it or not, our young adults are really hard on the equipment, so we have to replenish a lot of gear. So, all right, I'm sorry, ma'am. I
No,
have to get.
it's my fault. Yeah,
sorry.
so I was just asking about the curriculum and then the training for the instructors.
Okay, so the training for the instructors, the Air Force actually trains the instructors. All right. So before the instructor can apply for a position with the school district, that person has already been trained by the Air Force. So the Air Force is saying that this person is ready to go. All right, and it's up to the school district to say yay or nay whether they want to hire them or not. All right, and what was the other one? I'm sorry.
You find the curriculum.
Oh, the curriculum, yes. So we have what we call a 7-year curriculum. All right, and that 7-year curriculum is based off of grade. So each grade, there's a step up in the curriculum. And we have hundreds of curriculum items that we get to choose from. But we create a syllabus just like any regular teacher, and the students will get that syllabus at the beginning of the school year. And we get to choose from a lot of the aerospace science lessons that we have, as well as the leadership lessons that we have as well.
Thank you very much.
All right, I hope
You're
I
good.
got them all. So, all right, okay, yes, ma'am.
I have two questions
Yeah.
that are related. So my first question is, do we have any data on how many families have expressed interest in having this program? Is there like a interest form or something that they go to the website and say, hey, I wish we had this program?
Nancy, can you speak into the
Oh, sorry.
microphone?
I was asking if we have any data on the interest level in this program, if families have formally or informally expressed interest?
No.
Okay.
It was kind of just
Well, it's come up before, but.
It come up. I've never seen it come
Data.
up.
Okay. I was just wondering
It
if
also
there's
hasn't
like
been
some
presented
sort of
before
like
as an option. Like, we never really
one
thought
on the
about it,
website.
as far as I know.
Okay. And then my follow-up question is, let's say that we don't meet the 50 student threshold, but there's a student that really wants to do the program. Do they have any other options?
Yeah, well, if you don't meet the 50, well, we get inspected once a year from the Air Force. So the Air Force will come out to make sure that we're doing our job with the program, with managing the program. So it's like you're going probation, and they'll put you in probation and they'll say, okay, you didn't meet your 50. Now, are they going to come in and say you didn't meet 50 and then just cut you off? No. No, they give you the opportunity to build up, especially if you are a new program. All right, so I've seen new programs that have gone 6 years with being under the minimum, because of they're just starting to build it up, man. And as long as we're gaining momentum, so as long as we gain the momentum by one person, then that should be good. That will be good enough for the Air Force.
Thank you.
All right, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I have a couple. So the first one is, has the current federal administration impacted your funding in any way for ROTC programming?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Has it diminished any of the opportunities for your graduates when it comes to college?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm interested in this from the perspective of giving opportunities, different pathways to our students. I liked the STEM component, for example. Are there any advantages on the college application outside of what was obviously there, which is, STEM experience, volunteerism, leadership? I'm wondering, it's not veteran status, and sorry, I'm a nurse, I have no
Right.
background in.
Correct. It's not veteran status. However, members take what they've learned from the program and they actually put it on their application. They put it on their resumes as well.
Okay.
All right. And so that makes a difference. We've gotten calls from employers that saying, "Hey, we've seen that this member was a part of Air Force Junior ROTC. Can you tell us a little bit more about this member and some of the things that they accomplished during that program?" So they use us as references, but it makes a statement when they have it on an application and they have it on a resume. Yes, ma'am.
Great. My last question is what is the physical activity component to this? When I see military, I think of like military calisthenics of Kelly Person, So I'm just wondering, what would that bring to the table for our students?
Yes, so we're required to once a week do physical fitness training, and that's completely up to the instructors as well as the cadet cadre as well. All right, so of course the standard push-ups, sit-ups, mile run, those are all the standard things. However, we also do flag football. We also do other team sports, as well that count as physical fitness. Once a year, every cadet has to do a fitness assessment. Right? The beauty of this fitness assessment is that there's no pass or fail for the fitness assessment. The only folks that fail the fitness assessments are the ones who don't do it, or the ones who don't try. So we just want folks to give forth their effort. All right, and that fitness assessment at the end of the year, and sometimes we do it twice a year. It consists of a mile run, a timed push-up for a minute, and time sit-ups for a minute. All right, and that's basically it.
Kim, last question, sorry, it's tangential. Can participation in the ROTC program substitute for gym at all, or no?
No, ma'am.
And is that up to you, or is that up to us?
Nope, that's up to that's up to you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the commitment like, and can students still participate in outside activities like, let's say drama or sports or any of those other
Absolutely.
things?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we have plenty. We have several athletes, folks that are in the drama club and other clubs that are still a part of Air Force ROTC. Based off of how many cadets we have in the program, the biggest thing I see that gets in the way is sometimes community service. So like last year we had 114 cadets. Those 114 cadets had a requirement to do 8.5 hours of community service, all right, which isn't a lot. And what we do is that we try to find ways to work around their schedules as well. All right, so we are very, very flexible when it comes to their time, especially as they get higher in the grade level. So when they go off to BOCES and, we are very, very forgiving, for those other activities that they accomplish. So, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Just to add to that question, what does a general day look like? So to what extent will the students be part of their own unit, or is it fully matriculated within the rest of the building?
Yes, so the way it's set up in Schenectady, we have 6 to 7 periods a day. Okay, so we're just like on the schedule, just like any other regular subject. So the way our schedule, that I set up the schedule for the week is that on Mondays, they do PT, they do physical training. All right, on Tuesdays, they'll have a leadership lesson. On Wednesdays is uniform day, there's uniform inspection. On Thursdays, there's an aerospace science lesson. And then on Fridays, is drilling ceremony. All right, so that's the structure for the week for all our cadets. Yes, sir.
I was curious, as a former member of Civil Air Patrol myself, as more so into what's the scope of the STEM program for the students? I want to know what benefit do they get from studying rocketry, other aerospace fields?
Yes, so all those other aerospace science, it teaches them, it gives them something else to do as far as Air Force Junior ROTC is concerned. If you are, for example, a flight simulator, all right, we can have a flight sim program, that's a part of Air Force Junior ROTC for members that want to go off and maybe have a career in aviation, all right? A lot of things that we do at the 109th Airlift Wing and also with the 105th when we have career days at those units, it's all about finding something else outside of what they were actually thinking about. All right, so we have a lot of members that are focused or have tunnel vision and they're focused on one thing. We provide them other opportunities and other ways and other things to think about that they may be interested in. All right, so if they get into robotics, robotics is all about being a team. All right, because we'll put them in small groups, and they compete against other robotics teams around the country. So all these other Air Force Junior ROTC programs that has robotics, they have one big, huge robotic competition that we're allowed to go to and compete against other Junior ROTC units. Competition. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I have a lot of
Oh,
questions.
no, you're good. No, I can stand here all day. I'm good.
So if a participant is interested in going to a different military academy, like the Naval Academy, is it still helpful in that pursuit?
Great question. Yes, ma'am. It is still helpful in the pursuit. So any service academy is going to recognize their service at Junior ROTC. However, Air Force is going to recognize it a little bit more. All all right? Because the structure that we do in junior ROTC is the same structure that they do at the Air Force Academy, all right? So you have your seniors that are actually running the program and actually training their freshmen. That's what we get to, that's what we want to get to in Air Force Junior ROTC. So it holds a little more weight if they want to do the Air Force Service Academy. However, it still makes a difference at the other ones as well. So, one example is that we had a member that 2 years ago that joined the Merchant Marines Academy out of our Air Force Junior ROTC program. So, great question.
Last
Yes, ma'am.
question, I promise. Geez, Kate. So, who selects the 50 students? Is it you guys or us?
That is completely, it's a volunteer program. It's treated like an elective.
But so say you have 60 kids that apply and you need to pick 50.
No, we'll take all 60.
Oh, really?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, 50 is the minimum. Like I said, we can go up to 150. You know, in the program. So it's completely volunteer. Now we've had parents get involved. We've had guidance counselors get involved and say, hey, this kid really needs to go in junior ROTC. All right, let's put that kid in junior ROTC. All right, so, but it's an elective, so kids can actually select, can choose to actually be a part of it, you know, in their schedule. And I will say this, 114 students last year in the program. We started with 76. And so by the end of the school year, we had 114 because of word of mouth. All right, so students came in and they said, oh man, this is actually kind of fun, this is cool. And we tell them all the time, you put forth the effort, you know, and you come in and you show up and you put forth that effort, we can almost guarantee you're going to learn something different and you're going to have fun. You know, we pride ourselves on making sure that we celebrate, you know, the successes of our members. You know, so that just goes to show you, we started with 76, we ended up with 114 students in the program because of word of mouth. They were actually bringing their friends in, you know, and every time they recruited and brought their friends in, they so proud on the ribbons that they have. I mean, like these ribbons here, that the ribbons that they have that they actually can earn. Every time they bring in 2 new cadets, they earn a ribbon, you know, and so they were so proud. And they come in and they shine that ribbon up and yes, ma'am.
So when you have like 50 or 150, you have multiple sections of the course?
I'm sorry?
Or you have like multiple sections of the course, or do you have 50 kids in one classroom?
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding the question.
So what she's asking is if you have 150 students in the program, over the course of the day, they're spread out into different periods of the day.
Yes.
So how many kids would you have in one section?
It depends on how the schedules, we leave that up to guidance.
So it would follow like our class size standards?
Generally speaking, yes, they would follow that and the space allowance that we have.
Yes, ma'am.
This is my last question. It's kind of two-part. Do you have data on what the percentage of your graduation rate is, and does it help in increasing Regent scores?
Okay, I do not have percentages on the graduation or the question about the Regents as well.
Okay. Thank you.
But I will say, if we have a student, a cadet, especially last year, because the 9th graders at Schenectady is separated from the 10th and 11th, the 10th through 12th graders, because they pulled them out of the high school because of renovations. And I can tell you this right now, man. We received so many emails from other teachers saying, hey, your cadet is not being respectful. So before they go to the guidance counselor or before they call their parents, they come to me. And that's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing. When we're able to get that email, I love getting those emails, you know, or having a teacher come down and knock on the door and then be like, hey, so-and-so was very, very disrespectful in class today. Thank you for letting us know.
Pays for itself.
Yes, sir.
I'm curious with some of the things focused on, I know a lot of students, especially ones that I know, are interested in engineering courses in the future, especially mechanical and aerospace, which are fairly popular and growing fields. If the educational and STEM benefits, do they give our students a unique advantage in that regards in terms of going to schools for engineering,
yes,
aerospace fields?
I think it does give them a unique advantage for one word, and one reason alone, is the self-discipline that we actually have them that we teach them with. And also the flexibility that we give them to actually lead, themselves. So they are actually, if they want to do one of the STEM programs, say robotics or for drones, we're there to guide and make sure that they have the resources and be there to catch them, when if they fall. Most of the things that they do with those programs, is built up by the Corps themselves, by the cadets themselves.
If you're looking for a before and after parent for the exercise component, I'm here for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Parents come.
Any other questions at all? These all been great questions, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
No questions. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And with that, I'm gonna have my cookies.
Information's there. Take a picture. Please contact me if you have any questions, follow-on questions. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. 10-minute presentation. 10-minute conversation with Denise Richardson in a way.
You didn't have any questions coming.
She's
You guys answered them all. I didn't do it. I'd never done it before.
Andrew's ready to present.
All right.
You got him.
Moving on.
Thank you. So in advance of tonight's meeting, you will be approving the tax rolls, the tax levy, and issuing the warrant. So this presentation is presented as information and background on the process of collecting that information and using it to develop the tax rates for the 2026-27 school year. So the three parts we'll look at tonight are first, what is it that we levy? How is this levy apportioned between towns? That is, we have 4 towns across our district. How do we determine which share of the levy each of those towns provides? And then how do we use the data to calculate each of those towns' tax rate per $1,000 of assessed value? I'm going to go back to the property tax report card that the board adopted as part of the budget process. And I've circled 2 items here. The first is the proposed tax levy to support the total budgeted amount. In other words, this is the tax levy figure we used in developing the school year budget. The second figure there is the levy to support library debt. This is in a school district that has a school district library. So Guilderland Public Library's boundaries are coterminous with the school districts. The school district is responsible for administering its capital debt. So that when the library does a construction project, the voters approve it, but we collect the levy associated with it, issue the financing, and then pay the financing. So these 2 figures determine the total school year tax levy, which is different than the levy figure we use, throughout the budget adoption process. And I just want to make this clear to everyone that this is the levy we collect as part of the school levy in the subsequent slides. If every town did an annual assessment and we knew what the actual property value of every property in the town was, it would be very easy to apportion the levy across those towns. We would say, how much property wealth do you have? That's your share of the levy. Because many towns do not do annual levies, in fact, some towns, it's been decades since they've done a reassessment, the state issues an equalization rate to equalize assessments between towns. So if a town does an assessment in 2025 and another town did an assessment in 1990, it's very likely that those 1990 assessed figures are much lower. So by applying the equalization rate, the state says this is the equivalence between property value in each of those towns. It is the mechanism to make sure that each town pays its fair share of the levy based on the actual property value in each town. So we see there's a big range of most recent assessments, ranging from 2019 Guilderland all the way back to 1997 when Knox did its last assessment. The vast majority of our property wealth is in the Guilderland School District. So the Guilderland School District Guilderland Town provides the vast majority of taxes for the school district. The assessed value grew 0.37%. This is when new properties come onto the roll or assessments are updated because of changes to a property. But the full value or the property value of wealth in our school district grew a little over 8.8%. So we take the taxable assessment, the taxes that are to be raised based on their proportion of the actual property value within the full district, and we develop the tax rate. These are expressed in dollar figure per $1,000 of assessed value. So for example, in Guilderland, last year, in 2025, the tax rate was $19.81.46 for each $1,000 of assessed value. That rate was increased this year to $20.4726. So a 3.32% tax increase for the average assessment, or for the taxpayer in Guilderland. Bethlehem is experiencing a 0.27% decrease in the tax rate. New Scotland, an increase of 2.98%, and Knox, an increase of 6.58%. The factors that drive these differential rates are share of the overall levy, and then the amount of assessed wealth in the given town. So the tax rate change per $1,000 of assessed value is the same percentage figure. These are the average assessments within each town. So the average tax change for the average house in Guilderland is an annual increase of $187.59. Bethlehem with a decrease, the average property would see a decrease of $17.21 on its tax bill. New Scotland would have the increase of $238.32, and Knox would have the increase of $361.78. There's a lot more volatility in the three non-Guilderland towns because they have a smaller share of the overall property wealth. Changes in the equalization rate can swing these. So over time, they may have a smoother increase, but there is more year-to-year volatility because they make up a smaller share of the overall wealth.
So, like, Knox had not had a reassessment for over 12 years, right? So how does that affect the overall assessment process when these towns choose not to do a dedicated reassessment? How do we determine that these numbers are fair and accurate?
So this is a math. This one, in this particular case, there's very little agency on the part of the school district. So the numbers that we use are provided by town assessors for the taxable assessment, and the state determines the equalization rate. So the state looks at a complex assortment of data based on property sales, assessments, to determine each town's equalization rate. The big outlier we see in equalization rates is Knox. So it's saying that their assessment, you would divide it by, is a third of what its market value is, essentially. Whereas Guilderland, it's 69% of the market value. So there is sort of a correlation between how long it's been and what the equalization rate is, but it's not a perfect correlation.
So would it behoove these towns to actually reassess, or if that's just an unknown variable?
My speculation is that it would create more a disparity between property holders than it would to the town as a whole. Because when we determine our levy, it's irrespective of the property wealth in a town. So when we determine the levy, we take the overall tax levy to support the budget. We apportion it based on the wealth in a town. But the tax cap formula is what determines the limit for our tax levy. And then we determine, what amount of the allowable tax levy we issue associated with the budget. That goes to the voters for approval. We then take that, apportion it between the four, in our case, 4 towns, and then calculate their tax rates based on the assessed value.
Is there a legal requirement for towns to reassess at any point? So they could never reassess at any point.
There are towns in New York State that make Knox look like a recent assessment.
I know that.
There are some very, very low equalization rates in the state.
Can we put this into a video to play before every single budget meeting?
If you wanted to do that.
I've never seen you
certainly could.
speechless, Andrew.
I think this is very important information.
Yeah.
So I also don't know that you want to watch it.
I think a lot of people don't understand the tax levy at all. They don't understand how it's apportioned and how it doesn't change, right? The tax levy is a set amount, and that's something that people don't completely, they think that the school district or is being stolen from if something happens within, you know, other portions of our town, and that's not factual.
I guess I would answer this by saying the levy we select, you know, the levy the board adopts that goes to the community for approval, we do have control over.
Right.
So we select the levy that supports the budget. We decide, do we go under the tax cap, at the tax cap? Do we seek to override the tax cap? Those are choices districts make. But once the budget has the levy attached to it, this part of the presentation is really straight math. We take all of the data we get from the 4 town assessors, we take the data we get from the state, and then we apply that in the formulas to determine the tax rates. This is also an illustration of how, when we issue exemptions, how that plays out. We don't reduce the levy we receive when the board adopts an exemption. What we essentially do is shift the allocation of that levy to
Responsibility,
other
right.
property holders in a district.
And I think that that's the element that a lot of voters don't know, right? They don't understand that aspect, and we get a lot of questions during budget time that could be answered by people understanding the tax levy a little bit more and more in depth. So thank you for putting this together, because I think this is one step in that direction, which is the right direction.
Sounds like a good topic for the communications committee.
I was gonna, Meredith, I was just gonna say that. That's something we can do. We can take it on the road.
Yeah.
And as the board has been talking about.
And can we actually take it on the road?
Well, we'll talk about it when we have our communication. Oh my gosh. Next communications meeting.
Getting excited.
Yeah.
This is
They want
the
us to
difference
actually
between.
teach anybody anything.
The difference between a pilot agreement and a tax certiorari assessment is very significant for the school district, because when there's a pilot agreement that reduces essentially the amount of property assessed value that the tax is applied to, that is shifted to other community members. But the school district receives the same levy. So it affects us in that community members are who vote for or against budgets.
I don't like that terminology, though. It shifts to the rest of the.
But it does. That's exactly what
It
happens.
does, but if that property is increased in value, and it wouldn't have if the property wasn't developed, then it hasn't really.
But it still shifts. We still lose money. The district still loses money.
So there are
The
there are
tax
I'll
levy
talk
is the
about it
tax
later.
levy.
Well, it's complicated, but I have my little thing here. Go ahead, Andrew. I'm sorry. It's a
Well, what we're
long story. We
determining
can talk
tonight
about
are
it
the
later.
tax rates based on assessed value.
Right.
You can also calculate, which we've not done because it can be confusing, the tax rate based on actual value, which will be the same across all of our towns, and that is the one that would reflect the growth in property wealth. But people, if the value of their property increases, that's not liquid assets, right? So if my house goes up 8.8% in value, I don't have 8.8% more income to pay my property tax with. Right? I only realize that if I somehow either.
But the tax levy never changes
The tax
in
levy
that
readjusts
year until the next budget
Until the next
is
budget,
approved,
right.
and then the tax levy shifts to that new number. So we don't lose money.
It's a lot more complicated than that. We do.
Not, from a pilot, we wouldn't lose money. From an assessment grievance that is settled after taxes are issued, we would lose money because we pay back taxes we've collected.
It's, well, The state's tax cap formula fails to include the subsidized properties in the overall tax revenues, which sometimes can create a negative tax cap for some communities. It didn't happen to us, but it does limit the amount of revenue districts can raise.
Well, and it's happening in Ravenna right now.
Right, so, I mean, it's, never mind. It's a long, bigger
Well,
discussion.
It's a factor, it's a factor in the tax cap, it's not a factor in the tax
Yeah.
rates when you
Yes,
apportion them,
okay.
is the way I would
Yes.
say it. So
Yep.
tonight,
Yeah.
we're talking about
Right.
tax
Okay.
rates and apportionment.
So that's what I'm
The-
saying.
The levy we have set, we are applying to the assessed property wealth.
So we'll let
I just have a clarifying question. So when we're talking about Knox and the assessment, are we talking about the entire town of Knox or just the part that's part of the
The part-
district?
Just the properties that are within the boundaries of our school district. So each assessor for each town prepares a lot of reports, but one of the reports they prepare is assessed value for each district. And so we get district-specific reports detailing all of the exemptions issued within our district, the value of those exemptions, and all of this comes, outside of this, some of this goes into calculating STAR. We also get, the total number of properties and that total assessed value for issuing taxes. And that's one of the things, the first motion tonight about adopting the rolls is adopting those totals. But the town provides them to us, we bring them to the board adopts them. That is used to then set the tax rate, which is then used to issue the tax warrant, which authorizes us to collect those taxes. Other questions before I move back? So I think we were looking at the rate, the average assessment. These are generalizations, but trying to understand fluctuations between rates in different towns comes down to what is their share of the overall property wealth, and then how much wealth within a district do they have to apportion it. Right, so if you have two towns, one has a market boom and one doesn't, that first town that has the huge property growth is going to have a larger share of the levy because they have more of the overall wealth. But then, when they apportion it over assessed value, the more assessed more assessed value there is, would lead to a decrease in the overall rate. So all of these factors intersect, or both these factors intersect for each town, which is why there's not a neat explanation for why town A has this tax rate and town B has that tax rate. But the general trends are, the more assessed value you have to distribute your levy across, that would lower tax rates because you have more wealth to distribute that levy across. But relative to other towns, if you have more property wealth, so if you have the same assessment, but your equalization rate dropped because you have more wealth, your tax rates would be expected to go up. That's the end of the presentation. Any other questions on assessments, tax rates, levy?
Thank you. Okay, a motion to approve consent items A through D.
Moved.
Second. First, Wanda. Second, Tara. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Consent items passed 9-0, and we've just appointed, and we'd like to welcome our new Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction. We're very excited to have you.
You want to say a few words? Did you prepare a speech?
I didn't, but
But thank you so much. Obviously, I love Berkeley Joplin, and families and the students mean a lot to me, and this community means a lot to me. So I'm really excited to get to serve in this new role, and I'm looking forward to getting started. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Regan, you'll be presenting curriculum and instruction information for us tonight?
Yes, so pinch hitting for Ms. Dignam, who will let off this month, but next month you're back on, Jackie. I have one item for information for you this evening. So good evening, everybody. Our new staff orientation for the 26-27 school year will be held on Wednesday, August 19th, Thursday, August 20th, and Friday, August 21st. Teachers and teaching assistants are coming on the first day. The second half of day number 2 are district level trainings, platform certification, some CTLE stuff for certification. And the last half of day 2 is GTA and the GEMS, the mentoring program. Day 3 is building level training with a focus on math and ELA for our elementary teachers. And that's happening very, very soon.
Great. And on to superintendent information.
Okay, we're at that time where we're starting to talk about the opening of school and the return of our students. As we prepare for that opening, some upcoming dates. Wednesday, September 2nd is opening day for staff. We're going to begin at 7:30 in the West Gym of the high school here with some coffee and refreshments, welcoming remarks, some service recognition and introduction of new staff. We're going to begin the program at 8 in the West Gym. And if you are planning on attending, if you could just please let Ms. Reinert know. Just that way we're sort of keep track of people of who we're expecting to come on that day. Our kindergarten welcome elementary schools are inviting new kindergarten students in for dropping off of supplies, meeting their teachers, and maybe even board a school bus. Specific details for each building are outlined. Information will be sent out directly to the families of those elementary schools because they're all just a little bit different. Orientations, the middle school 6th grade orientation is on Thursday, September 3rd from 8:45 to 10 a.m. And our high school orientation for our 9th grade freshmen and our new students is Thursday, September 3rd from 8 to 11 a.m. First day of classes for all students in K-12 is Tuesday, September 8th, 2026. Our summer school programs, Thursday, August 13th, marks the conclusion of the regional summer school, which we hosted this year. We will not be hosting next year because we'll be in the midst of our larger portions of our capital project at that time. So we hosted this year. We had 311 students enrolled in the summer program. We had Guilderland and students are more expected in participating in walk-in test takers for our Regents exams in August. You can retake a Regents exam. You don't have to go to summer school to do that. So we are anticipating that we'll have a number of students coming in to take those exams on August 18th and 19th, which is next week. This Friday, August 14th, marks the end of the extended school year for our special education students or students with disabilities and the Farnsworth Middle School summer program. Both elementary schools will finish this year as well. Thank you to all of our staff who made these programs possible and a success for our students over the summer. Congratulations to the Farnsworth Butterfly Station. They concluded another successful season with an annual release day event. Was Friday, August 7th at 9:30. The 26th season at the Butterfly Station has been a remarkable success, combining hands-on environmental education, student leadership, and strong community engagement. The program had 80 student volunteers and welcomed approximately 1,200 visitors this year. Thank you for all the hard work of our faculty and staff and the members of our community who contributed to continue this great program. And that's all I have.
On to me, the impartial hearing officer appointment. Robert Rodriguez has been appointed as an impartial hearing officer for a special education due process hearing pursuant to the board appointment and compensation policy and pursuant to the regulations of the Commissioner of the New York State Education Department, Section 200. Next, I will send around a paper copy with the letter of an award that the district staff and students, have received from NYSBA. I am very proud to say that our 4th grade students at Pine Bush Elementary wrote a persuasive piece about 4th grade students at Pine Bush Elementary School sat under a tree on Monday as they helped save through a letter written in their persuasive writing class. The students crafted a letter to the Guilderland School District Facilities Department persuading staff to help save trees on the school's lawn. Mulch was added to cover their exposed roots. So this was the work of the Pine Bush students for saving a tree. So it's the culture of comparison. So thank you. Next, I wanted to share, as you look at that, we had several requests that came in from the board asking for looking at a presentation from Albany Medical Center related to urgent care and telehealth and different services that may be available within the school. I know that Andrew had shared some information and we had multiple requests to look further at that. So I wanted to bring this forward to see if that was something that we as a board were still looking interested in having presentation coming and looking closer at that.
Yes, please.
Yes, definitely. Go ahead, Rebecca. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yes.
So I just want to make it clear that I would abstain from any vote about this, but I do think I would very much support learning more about it. It has been successfully implemented in other districts. And even years ago, before you came, Dan, we had community pediatricians that asked specifically for some protected time for students to do telehealth at school that would, help parents who don't have to take their kids out of school and out of work to bring them to appointments. Similarly, the child wouldn't have to leave school to go to a virtual appointment, particularly in regards to mental health care. So I would be very much in favor of learning more about it. Great.
So it sounds like the board, everyone is interested in at least hearing information and a presentation more about it. Okay. We also had heard, it had been brought up by a community member and by the board about the Pine Bush Preserve schedule burns concern. I had my board president meet and greet with the Peter Barber Town Supervisor and the police chief with Dan. And so we did have this conversation while we were together. And again, because the town is involved, but not directly overseeing it, they were able to share the information they had for us initially. And that was how there are considerations taken in place about when they occur. There are some areas within the Pine Bush that burns only happen every 7 to 10 years. So sometimes it's hard with the vegetation to predict what that is going to be like, even as much as they research the science behind the weather and what will happen when they burn. It's not always exactly predictable. But what they did share with us is contact for the fire manager and Tyler Briggs to make that connection for the board if there's continued questions that we had, and also notification for the community. There already is a way for people to receive notification. The town puts it out, but now the school district will receive it. And so this will be a way that if there is going to be a schedule burn, people who have different health risks would be able to see the notification and the school nurse and people and anticipate what would be happening in the community at that time. So that's where we are at this point with that.
That's great. That's great.
And the last one was we received an email asking if we would be interested in continuing again this year with the holiday trees at the Western Turnpike Golf Course, and if that's something that the Board of Education wanted to participate in as a group. And I know that it was asked to bring to conversation as an item to discuss. So I have that here. Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to address, say a few words on that. So I want to say that I attended the event with a few other board members last year, and it's very lovely. The town does a great job. It was the first one, and it was very successful. But as a board, I have concerns about us participating as our capacity as a school board. So basically, my concern is whether the school board purchasing and decorating a tree is an appropriate activity for a school board. I question whether it's appropriate for a board to participate in an official in this capacity. Our responsibility is to govern the district, oversee policy and finances, and make decisions that directly benefit students. So to that regard, we're a very diverse community, and I feel that the fact that we represent the entire community, we represent families with different beliefs, traditions, whether or not the intention might be one way, we want to make sure that nobody has a feeling that there's any kind of a symbol that is being chosen or something to that nature. So the last thing we would want is for any family members to feel, or students to feel overlooked or less represented. As board members, our responsibility is to consider how our actions affect students. So activities centered on holiday traditions, even if it's secular by definition, can convey that impression for families. So another issue that I have, though, is the fee. There's a $75 fee to participate, and while that cost might be small, we should consider whether district funds, or that would mean taxpayer money, or even personal contributions from board members who are willing to act in their own capacity to spend that money. Does that set an appropriate precedent? Does that set a tone for other boards to have to follow that down the road? And how do we make sure that's an equitable action that is followed? The fact that some board members may choose not to participate, that's another issue that can come up. Will board members feel that they can comfortably decline without it appearing a certain way? We do appreciate the town's overture. This is nothing about that. Like I said, I think it's a nice event, but I think that we have to be careful how board members might feel about it and not to impose any board decision. I don't see how this is a governance decision. I do think it's nice to be with the community, but I don't know if this is the way to go about it. I think there's other options and ways that the school board can connect with the town that may not necessarily be decorating a tree. So again, I just feel like since this is not a governance activity, I believe we should be mindful of making a clear distinction between the board's role as a governing body and other ways that we could possibly, work with the town that might not make anybody feel that we're choosing away or we're excluding others, because our goal is inclusivity and the students.
Blanca?
Thank you. So thank you, Nina. I think there's different levels of involvement. And so last year, we did not participate in the tree lighting. I'm sorry, for the public. There's the opportunity, like you just mentioned, to make a donation and acquire a tree and then decorate it. And I see your point. At first I thought, well, we can decorate it any way we want to. We could, make sure it's diverse, etc. But you're right. At the end of the day, it is still itself a symbol. But there are different levels, of participation. And so I'm just wondering, do you feel like it's inappropriate for our students to sing there again? Because that's actually how this all began, is a phone call I made to Supervisor Barber, asking if there were opportunities for our students to ever perform or be invited, to have some kind of partnership with the town. And so the first event that took place happened to be the tree lighting, which was our first. So we had our FMS students sing. So I'd love to hear if you also think that is problematic.
So I think that's a whole different thing, right? So I think that in general, students perform during the holidays, and I think that that's the students making that decision. I think as a school board, we hold a different role, and our job is governance and oversight and making sure that the student body is, heard and seen and that their needs are met. So I think that having our students participate, whether it's at this event or singing at the Capitol or at NISMA or in any way that's centered around a holiday event, I think that's a whole different animal. I think that's wonderful and I support that. I don't think that anybody, though, should feel that we as a district are choosing to do something. And I also, like I said, am concerned about a precedent it might set for boards going down the line.
So obviously I got your email when you mentioned this, Nina, and I hadn't thought about it until tonight when you spoke about it, so thank you for that. I think something we should consider if we want to work collaboratively with the town over the holiday season is some sort of volunteer event. So some sort of collection of food baskets or collection of supplies for refugees as opposed to secular symbols. So that's just my personal opinion, but I think that would be more meaningful for the whole community than a tree lighting.
I like that idea.
It's very nice. Yeah.
Sorry, you may have to forgive my ignorance here. I did only come to this district in 2023, but I'm sort of curious if I could get any more information regarding this event. because just sort of hearing about a tree lighting ceremony for the first time, I'm sort of curious as to why the board is getting involved in the first place.
We received a letter asking us if we wanted to participate. The town and the library participate, so it was also sent to us asking if we wanted to have a role in participation.
So the event is that there are multiple trees. You can buy a tree, whether as an individual, as a family, as a group, and then you decorate the tree. And then there is a community event where the trees are lit up collectively. So we received an invitation to buy a tree.
Is it a fundraiser? I can't remember.
Is it a fundraiser?
I'm not sure where the money goes to the town, but I know that I think it covers costs or fees of some sort.
Okay.
There's also a parade. All of the fire districts come and light up their fire trucks, and I think that GPD also lit up a car, didn't they?
I think so.
The police? I don't know.
And it's hard, it's a community event, but that is the question. Does the school board buy a tree, and where do the funds come from, and what does it say?
Yeah, it actually doesn't say. That was a good question, where the money goes. Do you want me to read the blurb real quick or no? Might as well.
Sure.
The town is holding its second annual tree lighting celebration on Saturday, December 5th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. near the clubhouse at Western Turnpike Golf Course. Before the tree lighting ceremony, there will be a holiday parade of decorated fire, highway, parks, and other trucks that will end at the clubhouse. Music, food, and warm drinks are planned. In addition to the lighting of a town holiday tree, there will be 30 trees available for purchase and decorating in memory of a loved one as a symbol of peace and hope, or to celebrate the season. The cost of each tree is $75, which includes the cost of the tree, electricity, remembrance plaque, and a lead cord. I don't know what that is. You will provide LED lights. So it doesn't say where the money goes.
Well, if the, sorry.
I just have
Do you have a question?
one more question that I thought of, because when you talk about setting a precedent, so what happens if we as a board decide that it's not appropriate for us to participate, but an individual school wants to participate? What say do we have over that? Like, are we setting a district-wide policy that no school can do this, or, so?
Well, I think all I can answer is that as a school board, we have this oversight over we don't dictate what happens within the building itself, right? But I can tell you that from a standpoint of whether or not it's constitutional, there's that secular question. That's not the issue. The issue is for me separately, which I can speak to, which is the school board, and that's that I don't feel that's our role, and I don't feel that. And the last thing I would want is for any student or any family to feel that we are not including them, or that they're not seen, or that we're choosing to participate in one tradition and not another tradition. And I just don't see how that falls under our role in governance.
Did you have a question?
Just adding, I'd like to mirror that sentiment. My fellow students are remarkably diverse. I came from Montana, which is not anywhere near as diverse. And I think, as much as everyone would love to have the board, participate in the community, show what we do, I think it'd probably be safer and, better for everyone if, avoiding anything that could be touchy for anyone at all, just focusing on the role as representative body.
What I can do, hearing Rebecca's recommendation, is Dan and I are not scheduled again to meet with the group till December, but I can reach out sooner and see if there's any those opportunities that you shared, and see what the town has planned throughout the year, if there's something that we would want to join in to participate in.
I actually think because we started getting emails from them. Some of them went to the junk. It's like a newsletter. I think Rebecca may have hit the nail on the head with like a food pantry or food drive thing. So maybe that is a good opportunity.
Does the district, though, already do collections for the holidays? I'm just wondering if that's something that would be added to it. I think there already is something similar, but you're saying in addition to...
Well, let's just get the information and see what they do for the community. It's, and then go from there. That makes sense.
Just to throw into, so many people are asked to donate over December.
Right.
There's a lot of like fatigue with giving.
Right.
It would be really awesome if, as a community, as a town and a school board, we did a group donation drive for like school supplies or summer activities, because there's a dearth of, supplies during the summer.
Yeah.
Okay. I can make that
Oh, I like
contact and
that.
start
I like
us
that
if you would
idea.
Yeah, you're right. Everything is always asked for right during
Yeah,
the
right
holiday
on the
season.
holidays.
I think that carrying closet would be a good one too.
Okay. Okay. I will CC you on that email or.
I just want to say one thing. Yeah, so thank you, Nina, because I didn't think about it that way. And I should have, obviously. To me, I remember last year there was one tree that stood out to me, which was the wicked, right? So it was like half pink, half green.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, wow, we could take this and like make it diverse and make it ours. But your point is extremely valid. In itself, it is a symbol. So I appreciate your words.
Yeah, and just to say again, we don't know how people might interpret it, right? And so we need to make sure that we're thinking of that. So thank you.
No,
Yeah.
thank you for bringing that up.
Okay. Thank you. Peter, did you have a question?
Nope.
Okay. On to curriculum and instruction action items.
Okay, thank you, Katie. I have 4 items for your consideration. The first 3 are textbook approvals, and the 4th is our professional development plan, which was on last agenda for information. The first textbook is titled Malayla, My Story of Standing Up for Girls' Rights by Sarah J. Robbins and Malayla Yousafzai for use in 6th grade ELA, Social Studies and Reading.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve? Peter, second Meredith. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
All right, thank you. Next textbook is entitled United States History, Advanced Placement Edition by John J. Newman, John M. Schmalbach for use in grade 11 AP US History.
Can I have a motion to approve the textbook review? Nina, second Kelly. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
The third textbook is entitled Gregor the Overlander by Suzanne Collins for use in 6th grade ELA in Reading.
Motion to approve Gregor the Overlander. Meredith, second Tara.
So good.
All those, or any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes 9-0.
Okay, thank you. And the fourth item is our professional learning draft, which is included in your materials.
Okay, motion to approve the professional learning plan. Rebecca? Blanca, second. Questions or comments?
Question.
Yes.
On page 4, 2026-2027 Guilderland Central School District Professional Learning Committee still lists Rachel Anderson in my copy as a draft. And also a note, when this comes to us next time, let's not put the date that it's board approved preemptively until it is actually board approved, please.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Yeah. Was Rachel a part of it, though, before she left?
Yes.
Yeah,
She
so
created it.
she was a part of it before she left, so you can still put her name, right?
Not if this is the plan for the upcoming year. She's no
What, but
longer-
she was part of the
She wrote
team
it.
planning it, though.
But she's listed as assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction. She's no longer with us. Should it be removed?
Should it be former
it's for-
assistant
It's for
superintendent?
2026 to 2027.
Yeah, I know, but she,
So
There needs to be some indication in this that
that
she's
she's
not
no
in that role.
longer, okay, I see what you're saying. All right.
Okay. All those in favor?
With the amendments?
With the edits.
With the amendments.
Passes 9-0.
I just got a text from Lynn Wells who said she's part of creating it, so her name has to be on it.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine, but can we,
Can we put former assistant?
she's still part of the learning committee for this coming year.
She will not be part of the,
So then, to me, this document should reflect who the learning committee is for this year. That to me is what that page is
I
saying.
see it more like
But if she was a part of building it and
Byline,
creating it, then she should
Co-author.
still be on it. She's a part of the co-author, yeah.
But I agree that there should be some indication that she was part of the process. It's
the plan.
No
Either that,
longer,
yeah.
She needs
so
to be.
can we just
Yeah.
put former?
That's what I was
Or,
saying.
or
Can we
that,
put
or
former?
marks that the committee meets before the school year.
Well, just to ask a question, so page 4 in our PDF is what Peter was citing, but page 5 is the learning committee. So I agree that since she was part of the learning committee, that's where she probably should be listed, but it looks to me like what is page 2 in the draft, but page 4 on our screen?
I see,
Is
yeah.
listing the central administration. So I'm reading that as the central administration for the district,
Oh, yeah.
separate from the learning committee. So I feel like there's two separate things, right? Is that how you're seeing it?
I'm looking at this. I know you can't.
Yeah, so that would be
At
where
5.
That
she did
says
do the work.
Learning committee.
So
Right.
then just signify that it meets prior to the start of the year, the school year of 2026 to 2027. And then it covers that that may change after the start of the school year.
There's a term splitting gray hairs. I don't remember
Yeah.
what it is.
I know,
So
yeah, something like that.
We'll find some way we'll designate that she was in the development, but it will be being,
We'll amend it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Nancy's name's on there too.
okay, yeah.
For the board. She
Okay.
wasn't on
Gray hairs.
last school year, so
No, yeah. Splitting
we'll amend it.
The reason I'm asking is because there's evidence in this plan that this is in effect for 26, 27. And if we're approving something as a board, it should reflect as the data, as an entity that this document is, who's involved in this moving forward. There's creation that occurs, and we want to recognize those individuals that did that work. But this is also something that is in effect for the next year, and the individuals who are responsible for that should be listed appropriately in this document. And I don't feel that the way it's presented, that accurately reflects
Okay.
that.
So we'll amend that, and we do know that later in the year, we do hear a share out from, I believe, like Jackie would give us a share out on how the professional development plan went throughout the year, so.
I'm sure she'd love that.
Well, yeah, right, we usually get a report out on that, so.
So what did we decide? I'm sorry.
It's gonna be meant to reflect
Gonna
that
be
she was
both?
in the development, but that
With current staffing.
carrying out the, current staff.
Right.
Great.
Yeah.
Where are we? Voting motion.
We've already approved it with the amendment, we
Oh.
were just clarifying the language
My
after
bad.
hearing from Lynn Wells on what, okay. School business management action items. Andrew.
All right, thank you. Let me pull up my, I have several items for your consideration tonight. As mentioned during the presentation, the first is the resolution to confirm the tax rolls and then authorize the tax levy.
A motion to approve the resolution to confirm tax rolls and authorize the tax levy. First Nina, second Kelly. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. It passes 9-0.
Thank you. And then subsequent to that is the motion concerning the tax warrant that authorizes us to collect the taxes authorized by the preceding resolution.
Motion to approve the concerned tax warrant. Kelly, 1, Kara, 2nd. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0. You're going to have 5 copies to sign that are related to what we both just voted on, both action items.
Thank you. The next item are general fund transfers closing out the 2025-2026 fiscal year to cover short negative balances for employee benefits, special education expenditures, and BOCES services.
A motion to approve the general fund transfer.
Question. I have a question about it. I have a question. So
Look, we have to do the motion and then we
sorry.
can, yep.
Second. Sorry.
So Blanca, okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Questions or
Sorry.
comments? Nina first, Blanca second. Go ahead. Questions?
So, yeah, I just wanted to see if, for the covering of the costs for the negative balance, is there any, like, what is the reason for why their claims are higher? Just to kind of explain the cost changes.
Certainly, so if claims are higher, we project what the expenditures will be, or what the claims would be at the budget development. And then as we go through the school year, we can't hold a negative balance at the end of the school year, or the end of the fiscal year. So we have to make transfers to settle them. So in this case, we had surpluses in health insurance, shortfalls in retirement benefits, and then over expenditures and claims for workers' compensation.
And these are like pretty much expected numbers, right?
I mean, had they been expected, we would have budgeted for that, gotten the budget projection accurately, but we develop these as the best guess at that given time for what we might expect in a given year based on our past experience or current understanding of what might be changing.
Why did the BOCES services go up?
Well, one of those, maybe two of those, are buying the equipment for the elections.
Okay.
So we have that.
So we collectively bargained through BOCES to do that?
We purchase, we often try to shift purchases or service, whenever we make a purchase or a service, we compare it to BOCES to determine is the cost we pay for BOCES after accounting for projected aid a financial benefit to the district. So in the case of voting machines, right, we got quotes from all 4 vendors that make authorized machines in New York State, 3 of which did not run through BOCES, 1 of which ran through BOCES. And the cost was marginally higher for that 4th vendor, but we got over 60% of that expense back in aid the following year.
Thank you.
So
Any other questions? Okay. All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
thank you. The next item is a financial advisor agreement with Rick Timms Incorporated to continue as the district's financial advisor for the 2026-27 school year.
Motion to approve the fiscal advisory service agreement. Rebecca, Kelly? Questions or comments? Meredith?
When was the last time an RFP went out on this?
We changed financial advisors 2 or 3 years ago. I have to get the number for you, but we used fiscal advisors for a very long time and switched to RG Timms, I believe, in 2024.
Okay, and was there a distinct reason why?
It was after the board
We toured Queensbury.
was interested in capital construction. We visited a number of school districts, one of which, or we talked to other school districts. We toured one that shared details about the work they'd done with him. And after that, we had a conversation with him, and he's been a significant savings to the district on the whole.
Great, thank you.
Okay. All those in favor?
Oh, my bad. Yes, okay.
Passes 9-0. I missed you, Nancy, did you? Okay. Okay.
Thank you. My next items are related to BOCES. They are approving the final 2025-26 BOCES contracts, as well as the preliminary 2026-27 service contracts. Approving the final contract is necessary to generate the aid.
Okay, motion to approve the final BOCES service contracts and preliminary service contracts for 26-27. Tara, Blanca? Any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, about Tech Valley High. So when it says that the quantity or share is 4, does that mean 1 student for 4 years? Or we're covering 4 students to go to Tech
It would-
Valley High?
Their annual bills, so it would be, in that case, 4 student enrollments.
So is that an increase? Because I was told that only 1 student from Guilderland is allowed to go to Tech Valley High.
Yep.
When I spoke to the director
year.
of the summer program.
Is it 1 per year?
So
Per
4
year.
total.
So there's 1 in each
Grade.
each grade.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a
Yeah.
4-year, so there's one student in each.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
It's a lottery.
Well, yeah, I know it's a lottery, but she was telling me that Guilderland only sends one student per year.
Yeah.
So
That's correct.
We
But
add a
it's one
student
per
each year.
class year, not.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks.
All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
Thank you. My next item is the internal audit report and the corrective action plan for the 2025-26 school year.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the internal audit report? Rebecca? Nina? Questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
Thank you. Let me get this. The next item is a resolution authorizing us to participate in BOCES cooperative bidding for the health, safety, risk management related services.
Can I get a motion to approve us participating in the BOCES cooperative bidding for safety and management services? Meredith? Tara? Questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
Thank you. The next item is our BOCES classroom rental agreement. Each year, we rent classroom space to BOCES to provide services within our buildings.
Can I get a motion to approve the BOCES classroom rental and ancillary services agreement? Tara and Kelly? Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
Thank you. The next item would authorize us to participate in the RIC 1 Risk Operations Center, a cooperative partnership between 4 BOCES, supporting participating districts and the adoption of data privacy agreements to ensure compliance with Ed Law 2D.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve? Tara? Kelly? Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
Thank you. My next item are 4 service agreements with Achievements PLLC, the Langan School, Hillcrest Educational Centers, and Crossroads Center.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve service agreements? Blanca? Tara? Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
My next item are UPK contracts for the 2026-27 school year with Mater Christi School and St. Madeleine Sophie School.
Can I get a motion to approve universal pre-K contracts? Meredith? Nina? Questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
Thank you. My next item is an internship agreement for practicum experience with students at Grand Canyon University.
Can I get a motion to approve the Grand Canyon University internship agreement? Kelly, Tara, questions or comments?
Question. So on that one, the school counseling, it's listed that Grand Canyon is going to require them to hold personal liability insurance. Was that at the request of the district, or is that?
That is, it was in the contract that they sent us.
Did we question that?
We review the contract with Honeywell. We've made a number of modifications to these contracts based on the conversations we have with council.
And so what if a student from Grand Canyon wants to be placed here and is unable to afford that? Are they not placed here?
I don't know that we've encountered that before.
I think it's like an online, because I remember a long time ago, there was a student teacher in the room next to me who went to Grand Canyon University, but he was a New Yorker. So it was mostly like an online video kind of thing. He did have, a teacher did have to come here and observe him. But is that what you mean, travel if they can't afford to come here?
No,
like
this
the
is
personal liability
personal
insurance.
liability
Oh, the
insurance.
personal liability.
Typically nurses are the one, like if you're in a nursing program and you're doing your clinicals
see.
at, let's say,
Yeah.
Albany Med, you're required, or a PT is required to carry, or an OT is required to carry that type of insurance. New York State in 2022 put out a memo, number 240, from the Office of Counsel Opinion, that stated that these types of agreements were not supposed to be, that students under these internships, student teaching agreements would be covered through district policies. So that's why I'm wondering whether,
Can you state that again?
So it's,
Just what that's under, sorry, go ahead.
Office of Council Opinion number 240, related to insurance and student teaching.
Thank
It
you.
was sent to districts on July 11th of, I think it was 2022.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, go ahead, Andrew.
so looking at the contract, that insurance requirement does not apply to teachers, it is for school counselors.
Right,
Right.
but the opinion that was written in a footnote number 4 states that while the memo says student teaching, it applies to other individuals that would serve in similar capacities or something to that effect. So I just want to make sure that if we're approving this, that we're not the ones asking for it, that Grand Canyon is the one that's saying they need this in place.
Grand Canyon is the one who proposed
Grand
this.
Canyon, okay.
If the board wishes to table this, we can go back to them.
I have to abstain from the vote. I'm just asking the question.
It might be a standard in Arizona.
It might be.
Yeah.
Further, that we do have a employee on leave who will be affected if you don't approve it. So they're on leave to do their portion of this at this point in time.
Are they a school counseling student, or are
No.
you able to divulge
They're a
that?
teacher?
I don't
So
know
they
that we
wouldn't be
should
impacted
disclose
by that,
that.
but we would still
Oh,
need to,
right. Yeah,
I
you're
understand
right.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
I just wanted to,
I mean, it's important to point out differences when we're accepting these types of students from out of state, that there are differences in contract language from one state to the next, but that doesn't
Right.
mean that, if it obviously was requested by the school, so I don't have a problem with that at all.
That's fine.
Personally.
I just was asking whether it was something we put in,
Yeah.
or whether it was
Or
something they put in.
something
They put it in?
They put it.
So all those in favor? 8 passes 8-0 with one abstention.
One
Sorry.
abstention. Yep, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. My next item is a shared service agreement for transportation with the Duanesburg Central School District.
Motion to approve the shared service agreement. Meredith, Rebecca. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
Thank you. My next item is the Ice Hockey Cooperative Agreement, continuing multiple years of collaborating with Burn Hills Ballston Lake, Ballston Spa, Niskayuna, Albany, where is it? Scotia Glenville, Mahonison, Chalmont, Voorheesville, and Guilderland for the 26-27 school year.
A motion to approve the ice hockey agreement. Peter, Ellie, any questions or comments?
Just one comment. Exhibit A is missing from what we have here, so if that could just be
We
added.
posted for the
to
minutes.
Yeah, thanks.
I just have one question. Last year, we talked about the transportation. Is that related to this as well, with the ice hockey? Remember we talked about how the figuring, is that something that this is part of as well, or no?
I will.
The,
Yes, it's treated like all other sports, so there will be transportation will be worked out.
Okay.
I think last year's was, depending on where their practice is and what time it was, conflicted with the availability of drivers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and how far it is. Yeah.
Right. So we worked out a
They go to
different
two different
schedule.
sta- They went to they worked out at a different gym from where the.
Correct. They would like go to Schoharie and work out and then go to the ice rink. So we worked it
Yeah.
out. So they ended up doing athletics here with our trainer and then going to the rink from here because we had a driver available then at that point in time. So
Thank you for finding that solution.
Yeah.
all those in favor? Passes 9-0.
All right, thank you. My next item is the declaration of surplus or obsolete property, which lists a number of pieces of technology.
Okay, a motion to approve the declaration of surplus obsolete property. Wanga, Nina. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
Thank you. My next item is a emergency pesticide application for poison ivy along the fields and parking lot of FMS, fields at GHS, playgrounds of fields at Altamont Elementary and Linwood Elementary, along the fences and guardrails at the maintenance department. This would authorize applying pesticides for poison ivy.
Motion to approve the pesticide application for poison ivy. Nina, Tara, any questions or comments? Meredith?
When is this going to be done? And is it going to be done before students are back and might be exposed to these chemicals?
I will get you the date of application, but it would likely be shortly after this resolution is approved.
Is the chemical applied to existing poison ivy and then the poison ivy is removed? Or is it to prevent poison ivy from encroaching?
I will get an answer about that.
They don't physically remove the poison ivy. These are locations that are typically sprayed every year.
I think it's preventative, right?
Yes.
Well, it keeps it from growing because it is there.
Like they're sprayed every year. Is that what you just said?
Yes.
So why is this an emergency application if they do it every year?
Because
State
there are
regulations.
kids around those areas who could come in contact with poison ivy.
The process for using pesticides requires the board to adopt it as an emergency. We don't plan pesticide use.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable voting on this until I have more answers on application and when, because this type of application can be very
So
damaging.
there are restrictions as to when you can apply it and whether students are present or not, and they can't apply it while the students are present. So
Okay.
that follows all of the state regulations required for that.
It can't.
And this is unfortunately, because of our poison ivy issue, this is an annual thing that we have to do every year. So they are very strict about where and when you can do it and when students can then be back onto those premises.
Yeah, 72 hours is the
Yeah.
time before.
Can we move this up for next year, a month? Is that possible?
I just feel like we're operating in a way that we're micromanaging or assuming that the people who have made these decisions have no idea what they're doing after years and years of application of
Just because you
certain
do
things.
something the same way every time doesn't mean it's the right way to do it.
And I'm not implying that, but this is getting to a different level of
Yeah, it is
micromanagement,
kinda
and I don't
messy.
think that's our role.
So I think
there are safety regulations that are followed by school districts.
And who signed it? Tim Murphy? Yeah,
So
Tim Murphy.
Tim Murphy is our safety
Yeah, he's
coordinator.
yeah.
He is our designated safety
BOCES.
person.
I also believe that there are notifications that are
There
sent
are-
out.
there are
that
volunteer-
so
people
that
can request
are
the
aware of it.
notifications.
Correct. So it's not a surprise to school members or community members.
And if we move it up earlier, we also have ESY too.
Yeah.
So
Is there a motion? I don't know where we are.
We had a motion, we did
We're
questions
discussing.
or comments, so all those in favor? Passes 8-0? What?
8-1.
Abstention or?
No.
Yes, one abstention. It passes 8, one abstention, sorry.
So no, isn't it? Is it an abstention or a no?
is it a no or an abstention?
No, abstention.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Gotta make sure it's accurate. That's why I was asking.
Thank you. My last item is recommending the acceptance of a monetary donation from Edward and Diane Galarno for the K-9 program.
Motion to pass the donation. Meredith, Nina. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0, and thank you for that donation. Superintendent action items.
All right. My first item is the approval of the annual plan for the district-wide school safety plan for 26-27.
Okay, motion to approve the action plans for approval. Blanca, Tara, questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
And my second item is a memorandum of agreement and authorizing the superintendent to execute the proposed MOA between Guilderland Central School and the Guilderland Teachers Association.
Motion to approve the memorandum of agreement. Kelly? Sarah? Any questions or comments?
Oh, no.
All those in favor?
I've been doing that.
Passes 9-0. Let's see, okay. I have the superintendent's contract amendment. It is hereby resolved that the amendment dated August 11, 2025 to the agreement between the school district and the superintendent, Dan Mayberry, is hereby approved, and the president of the board is hereby authorized to execute the addendum on behalf of the district. The term of employment of Superintendent Mayberry is extended to June 30th, 2030. Motion to approve? Blanca, Nina, any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
Thank you.
A resolution to approve employee compensation. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Guilderland School District hereby approves a 4% increase in the rates of compensation base salary plus annual confidential experience recognition for members covered under the district office confidential personnel handbook of benefits retroactive to July 1, 2026. And be it further resolved that the superintendent of schools is authorized to implement the approval compensation adjustment and to make any necessary retroactive payments consistent with the resolution. Make a motion? Tara, Kelly, questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0. Board committee reports. Audit committee?
So we met on July 14th and we reviewed our internal audit, which this year was the concussion management, in which we approved a few minutes ago. We also reviewed the corrective action plan for this internal audit. It was a really good topic to review. I think all of us on the committee were pleased with the audit itself. There were 4 areas identified for quality improvement. One was regular review of New York State required training records for relevant staff. Next, there were gaps identified in incident documentation and follow-up medical care. Next, concussion-related materials were updated to be distributed to parents, and our website links are now active in distributing that information. And finally, district policy established the importance of a concussion management team, which we need to establish. So there were some good action items to go forward, and it's something that we will re-review this year in audit committee.
Rebecca, can you remind me who's on audit?
I'm sorry, what?
Can you remind me who's on audit?
Kelly, Peter.
Peter's a new one, okay.
2 members of the community.
Rebecca's wasn't, is the district doctor, I think Silverman, right, is that his name, part of that?
Part of the concussion management team?
Yeah.
Well, we were building the concussion management team, and I assume he will be on it, but we didn't have it at the time of the meeting.
At that meetup of like district personnel or people that are paid, or like who's on the
concussion management team, which
Well, that-
is to be
That's-
developed.
that's to be
Yeah.
developed.
New
So-
athletic director will
We will be,
working with it.
that's one of the projects for this school year is clarifying that and sharing that back with the audit committee.
A better way to say that is reestablish, because we did have a concussion management team that was established and was functioning prior to 2020. I started that with the help of other members of the team.
Thank you. Any other questions? Business Practices Committee. No.
We haven't met.
No, we haven't. So. Communications Committee?
We haven't met.
DEI Committee has not met. Policy Committee.
Policy committee will meet tomorrow evening.
Okay. Great. Any public comments? No, okay. On to board celebrations, concerns, ideas, and sharing.
I'll make it quick. I just want to say, so Tara and I attended the NISPA leadership, or the summer law conference and NISPA conference. It was very informative. A lot of things that are pretty current, like AI and the New York Inspires that we need to start thinking about, and the steps that we're on for that. Some quick takeaways for me. I think it's very timely that we're reinvigorating looking at our DEI, how we're doing DEI, because so much of the importance and the significance of DEI factors into it. Specifically, we also looked at how the district communicates, or districts can communicate.
Yes, yeah.
And one way to do that is by validating the community and hearing the community. And one way to do that is the climate surveys that we did a couple years ago that we're still waiting to kind of look at and dive into.
Yep.
So for me, I know, Dan, we talked about different ways to do DEI this year, but I definitely think one way to try to incorporate that would be, can we make sure that we're adhering to what the climate survey talked about and allow the community to feel heard and seen as we try to move in this direction with the district. It also talked about how these different aspects can help inform our strategic plan, something that we've talked about if we choose to go in that direction as we dive into the portrait of a graduate and the topics for our goals that we look at eventually, hopefully soon. But also, I just want to say that I love that we had it kick off with a junior ROTC speaker, because a lot of what that stands for really factors into the direction that we're going in the state. I was just listing it: critical thinker, academically prepared, creative innovator, global citizen, effective communicator, and a reflective, future focused. Those are the 6 elements of the Portrait of a Graduate that New York State is pretty much giving to us to figure out how to do it. And I think that we have some really nice components already. We've talked about community schools, DEI, and communication shifts. So just wanted to say, I thought that really spoke to me from the direction that we've talked about in here.
Yeah, and on Saturday, they had a presenter from the National Civics Bee. It's like a spelling bee. And they were saying that it's actually a contest that's run through the Chamber of Commerce Foundation. And it's for grades 6 through 8. They have cash prizes, like good money, like I'm talking real money. The state finals are held in Albany, and they get to go down to Washington, D.C. They also get like a $529 contribution, for college, which I thought was really great. And so there was a board president, I think from Rensselaer City, I'm not sure. He was talking about trying to do something more regionally so that we can all come together and take part in this. And another presentation I went to was about the student school board members, which was phenomenal. And Schenectady City is doing really great things with their student school board members. They talked about how they'll have like Google Meets with like the elementary school kids who have student councils. So this way we can hear from all the buildings and see what's going on. Now Schenectady is much bigger than us, so they have 4 student school board members, and each of the school board members are kind of like responsible for a couple buildings or 2. I'm not putting work on you guys, just an idea, that you can do. And there's also this organization for student school board members. It's called NSBMA. I could share it with you guys in Google. And it's just, they're going to have a virtual conference at the end of September. And the young man who was talking about it was just saying that it was just really nice to talk to other student school board members and say, hey, what are you doing in your district? How many students are in your districts? How many buildings? So then they could get ideas about how they can really get the most out of these positions. But I thought that was
Can you say
phenomenal.
the acronym again?
What's going on?
My bad.
NSBMA. I'm trying to, here we go, it's moving now. National School Board Member Association. So, and it's, that I thought was great. It was such an incredible conference. It was so good. You said something, made me think of something and I forgot. Oh, I hate when that happens. But, but it was really good. Oh, immunizations.
Yeah, a
That
lot
was
of
very
legal stuff.
interesting. That was, students have to be immunized in New York State. And they
New York
talked
State is
about
so
a case out in Western New York with an Amish community, and the religious exemption is gone. So
They continue to, our groups continue to raise that and
Yep.
challenge it, but
Yep.
as of now, that's being upheld.
Yep. So that was, that actually made me feel good that our kids are going to be vaccinated. But I
The
won't-
medical exception
Yes,
is still
yes.
holds, obviously.
Right, but, yeah. I mean, there's just a lot, but those are the
And
things that
thank you
really
both
stood
for
out to me.
sharing out your slides and presentations
sure.
and information. And to our students, we're very pleased to have you joining us at the start of each meeting. You'll have the opportunity to share out information from students. And then as you start this process, if you have any questions about how you participate in the meeting or what, please feel free to email any questions you have anytime. But we look forward to hearing from you. Okay. Any other questions, concerns, share outs, celebrations?
Two things. Okay. The first one is thank you, Kelly, for bringing the ROTC rep here. It was really great to learn about that. How do we continue the discussion within the rules, the Roberts rules? Like what would be any next steps? And is it on us or is it on admin?
I guess to have a discussion, then it's I don't want to go and add a new program here after the last budget years. I think we need to take a look at during budget season, what if it's something people want to do, we have a discussion about it, and if it's something we're interested in.
I think it is budget season. Like I think he's Dan wanted to start earlier, and so I didn't know.
Can the ex officio members poll the public and talk to students and see if it's something that our student body is interested in?
Like a town hall of sorts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, yeah, first off, I want to thank everyone for the warm welcome for Adam and I. I know both of us are fairly excited to, dive head into the work and see what we can do for the students. So I know, I think Adam and I spoke with Parth a few days ago, previous member in the ex officio position. And so, I mean, more info about that meeting of student board reps, I think he and I would love to attend. So I'd be very interested to know about that. But I know we've got a lot to look forward to and big shoes to fill because Mr. Mayberry was talking that Parth did a very good job last year. And so I'm excited to see where we go. You know, we got double the manpower now. So because I think I know Adam spoke a lot about polling the student body about various issues. So if you'd like to speak about that.
Yeah, we were definitely interested in using both in-person and maybe email methods of reaching out to students. I mean, I've had experience with polls online, and in my experience, we've gotten a pretty good turnout as far as students responding to these polls. But we're also going to look into maybe working with student government and also like maybe we could hold in-person sessions. I don't know how that would work logistically, though.
Well, it sounds like you've already been brainstorming some great ideas to get student input, and I know the school year hasn't started yet, so maybe we would give you that first month of school to kind of be with student government and figure out, what works, and then bring that information back to us. It sounds like you've really been thinking that through already.
I wonder if we can also add it in along the lines of what Meredith said to our, what could we call that thing that we send out? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we send out
the climate survey.
That comes, it comes back. No, it's not the climate
The word
survey.
bubble thing.
The word bubble thing.
The word bubble thing.
Oh, the word cloud? What your priorities are for the
Yes.
budget.
Word cloud? Is
Yeah.
that what it's called?
Yes,
Thought
from the
exchange?
communication, the thought exchange.
Thought exchange.
Right. I would like
thank
to
you.
hear from parents as to whether or not they are interested in ROTC as well.
It's funny. It's like I asked my kids. I showed them the video, and I'm like, "Is this something that you'd be interested in?" They're like, "No way, like at all, like zero interest." So it's kind of more like something that kind of like they might not know they're interested in doing it. Or might not know that it's something that would be really beneficial, and it would likely start small.
Well, here I am again, the communications committee creates as a group that works together for the thought exchange on the budget. So maybe we can prioritize that, knowing that we want to get these type of input earlier.
I think DEI too, because he touched on the fact that different minority groups and people might feel an opportunity for them.
Yeah, the representation groups that he put up there.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Also, I think
you had
staff
one
would
more?
need to be involved in that.
Yeah.
Especially counselors and anybody dealing with mental health, because it really has a huge mental health impact on students and their mental health. So what their gauge is on that, I would be interested to hear about.
Sure.
I just think asking the focus faculty, because it would be really
Yeah.
great to build up these students who might be more at risk.
Yeah. Yeah, in my experience, ROTC has been really fantastic, especially for kids from one-parent homes, from, if they're in situations where they don't necessarily have a lot of adults to look up to. It's really beneficial for those kids. So a parent survey might not reach the right places for that, but involving even more individuals that oversee these kids' lives would be beneficial.
I don't know, maybe we can ask Chief kind of how it got started in Schenectady or any other school district. I think, the only other ones that have it, I think, are
it's
CVA,
Yeah,
possibly,
CVA does.
and
In Albany.
like the military type.
Does Albany have it?
I think
Albany
It's
has
not
it?
Air, it's not Air Force.
But I think they have another program.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't be Air Force.
So if you want to take care of that first?
Yeah, I'll ask Chief to see if there's any kind of historic, kind of how do you even gauge interest or whatever, how they started. We'll do that.
I think it would be, if we're going to do all this with this topic right now, we need to look at that list of requirements and find out whether we have 400 square feet of designated storage space. We need to make sure that we have room in our schedules and classroom spaces available to fit these things in.
Yeah, we're gonna.
So I think
talk with school
that's got to be part of
counselors,
it too, and that's
scheduling.
that's information that should
Yeah.
come to us.
Yeah, we haven't included Mike at all, Piscatelli, in this conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So-
No, so we're not there yet. We're
Okay,
still
right,
talking
right.
just-
We're not
just
there
a-
yet, right.
So-
Right, there's some steps that we need to take. Blanca,
I don't
you
know
had
what
one?
they are. That's why I asked. I have zero
Yeah,
idea
yeah.
what we would do next.
Yeah.
Yes. The second thing I want to bring up or mention is yesterday high school parents and students received an email with the new tardy policy. I hope I'm referring to that correctly. Have all the board members seen that?
No,
Okay.
I haven't.
So in short,
So remember, some of the board members don't have children here.
I know.
And it's
I've always thought
it's a
that that's-
procedure, not a policy.
procedure.
Or probably
So the
could flip
change is
mine.
as follows. The change is as follows, and I wrote it down. I'm sorry. Well, I think now it's going to be that you get half a day of in-school suspension, or I think he called it detention at one point and then suspension at a different point, for every 5 tardies, you get half a day. Then if you go up another 5, you get a full day. And then so on, every 5 you get another full day. And so, and he did say that it mostly applies to students who drive themselves or are dropped off. And he did also say, he did explain at the beginning how it impacts the school day, how it can be a distraction, how it's not good for students, all super valid points. And that what we've had in place so far hasn't worked. I would like to say that I find it to be punitive. I don't appreciate not having the heads up either as a school board member, to be honest with you, whether or not it is our decision. I would have loved a heads up, but I consider it to be punitive and going in the wrong direction. We have taken the time as a school district to have committees that focused on the way that development is off kilter with our start time. And so to penalize students and increase that, the punishment for people who are already struggling, and we already know that there's evidence-based data out there saying that our school day starts too freaking early, and now to take a kid who's already late to school and totally discount the reasons for which they may be late to school. They may already be depressed. They may already be socially ostracized or bullied. They may not want to come to school because their social situation is so bad. They may be dealing with people at home who aren't home to take care of them. There's all sorts of things going on. They may not have the right kind of shoes and get made fun of. Now we're taking those kids that I consider to be at risk and have some of them real reasons beyond this, oh, they just overslept, or oh, they're irresponsible. We're taking those kids and now we're going to punish them more, and we're going to put them in detention with kids who are there for other reasons besides that. So I have a huge problem with this. I don't like it at all from a public health perspective. I think it's completely dismissive. and insensitive. Go ahead.
I mean, I agree with you. My first thought was, wow, this is a lot of sticks and no carrots, you know? And there are so many things that are beyond kids' control. There are so many reasons why they come to school late. I did talk to my now graduated daughter about it. What she pointed out, or what her perception of the situation was, is that there's no difference between being 1 minute late and 20 minutes late or 30 minutes late. So kids that are 1 minute late decide, well, whatever, if there's no difference between being 1 minute late or 20 minutes late, I might as well just come later or not come at all. So that's from like a student perspective.
I was going to say one thing, sorry. So just along the lines of scheduling and not to go back to the NISPA thing, but they had the superintendent from Ulster County, I can't remember what his name is, sorry, speak. Ulster County is one of the areas, the BOCES, that have been implementing the process. And a lot of it was, what can boards do and what role do we have? So to your question, Blanca, there's 2 areas that he focused on that boards can do. And one is scheduling, and not into the minutia of overstepping into the building, but from a higher perspective of what we typically do in schools is when we have students who are neurodiverse, special education students, we make accommodations for them to function in the mainstream. And the shift is, what he was talking about was that we have spent the last 150 years in New York State operating on the ideals that were set by 6 men from that time period. And what's changed? Many things have changed. So instead of aligning or having our neurodivergent students adhere to our guidelines, we create it to everyone's level. So I don't know if that directly answers what you're saying, but it talks about how are we as school districts, and this is where boards come in, okay? Are we creating our concepts to really adhere to students in today's day and age? And that brings in schedules during the day, but also, if we did this junior ROTC, we'd have to really revamp some things. Like 100% agree with that. How much are we in our traditional mindsets able to shift? And how can we, from a practicality standpoint, obviously with transportation, things like that, I understand there's factors that we can't bring into, but that is one aspect of it, is that we really need to rethink that. And the second area is the budget issue, right? Which obviously that's our area. So, but from that standpoint, I do think that school boards are going to have to really think as to how we're going to do this and how we're going to make it really student-centered and make them be able to be driven, independent thinkers. And one way to do that is by shifting, something that a lot of us aren't comfortable doing.
I just want to, thank you. I just want to circle back and finish my thought because I'm 48 and it'll leave me completely. It's not that I don't support the principle, but I am in strong disagreement with this. I think that it is a move in the wrong direction. I encourage any parents or students listening to write to us if they have the same concerns. And I would ask you guys to look at it again.
Can I just speak to that?
Yeah.
You should not write to you first. You should contact the high school principal and voice your concern directly to him, and he can bring it to his team that created this. I think that's the most appropriate step to do that. I encourage you as board members, if you disagree with it, to also bring that back to his team as well.
I think that this brings up a larger issue that I wanted to talk to board members about anyway. So I want to revisit the start times. There are other districts we've had that have implemented a later start time for the high school. There is very strong research showing that these kids need to have a later start time, and that it is very beneficial not only for their mental health, but their physical health and their social well-being. So it is something I want to revisit. I know we've been given a lot of reasons why it just can't happen, but other districts are doing it. So I want to know exactly in today's society, in today's day and age, why we can't do it. And if we can do it, how would we implement it? Because we all have read these studies. We all know that this early start time is not good for these kids. And I think that this punitive system is just a symptom of this larger problem that we have not really addressed.
Do you know about the history? Just because
I know some of it, yes. I know that.
And we
I
voted.
know that,
So it
like,
wasn't that it
after
was
school
like
sports
yeah, and, it
and all
wasn't,
that.
There were like multiple plans presented, and the board voted.
Yes.
So
sad.
yes, there were a lot of reasons, given and compelling reasons, but it wasn't a loose decision. It represented a year of work and a board vote.
Do we still have those presentations?
Can we look at those again?
Yeah, it was pre-pandemic,
Yeah.
so it's been
Pre-pandemic,
7 years, I think.
I thought we
6,
did
7
it
years.
after the.
That
So-
makes me feel like it's
We
time
did
to
do it
revisit
We
it.
did it after.
After.
There was 1 year after the pandemic that we did have the later stuff, but there was something with the buses. There were enough bus drivers.
there was all
or something.
kinds
There's
of-
three options, and we could have done it, but then the elementary schools would have lost 15 minutes of instruction time.
That's what it came down to.
Oh, yes.
They were already
okay.
at the shortest end
And
of
we're
the school
already,
day.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I
Thank
think
you, Rebecca.
we could start by pulling the,
Let's pull those
pull
presentations.
the old presentation.
Yeah.
And you can read right through them.
Share out and let you update
Maybe we
on
need to
like,
just relook
like
at
what
it.
had been happened first and then revisit the
It was
conversation.
right after. It was right after because we did change the school times for COVID, and then we did we redid the presentations and voted, and we had to keep it the same. I think so. It was after 2020.
We will pull that back together
Thank you.
and then, and to review. Peter?
So Dan mentioned that it was not a policy, it was a procedure. The messaging that went out
Right.
labels
Yeah.
it policy, not once, but twice.
Yes, that's part of
So
Okay.
Yeah.
that's part of the concern.
Okay.
I think we need to figure out a way to get some communication on a more regular basis because the high school also has a schedule change too this year.
What's the change?
They shifted
They're
homeroom periods.
they're merging homeroom.
Yeah.
So
Merging homeroom?
I didn't look too much into the specifics, but it used to be its own separate class you had to walk to. But I'm
Yeah.
fairly sure they're merging it with second block.
Right. So those are that's just the type of information that's helpful for us as a board to have,
Yeah.
rather than finding out about it from parents. I, as a board member, look, I have my own thoughts about things, and I'm not trying to influence a decision one way or the other in this moment, but it seems like at times we pick and choose what research we want to use and follow in support of students. And our job as a board is to support students. So we lean into the science of reading, but we don't do as much when it comes to the research that shows that high school students need to be starting later. And then we go through logistics, and it's busing, and it's athletics, and it's these things, and it's that thing. If we look at our academic calendar as a whole, our academic calendar as a whole is not conducive to student learning. We talk about COVID loss and the amount of time that students weren't in school. We want students in school more. We have 4-day weeks predominantly through the fall. We're still on a schedule that breaks up February. We have a week in February and a week in April. How can we in the 21st century actually get to a spot that supports student learning and isn't just the way we do things because it's the way we've done things all the time? There are solutions. There are ways to make things work. Does it happen overnight? No, it doesn't. But as we start to talk about Portrait of a Graduate and competency-based degrees, and the representative from the state that is quoted in the article that I read that clearly stated that getting students out of high school quicker is not the end game.
Right.
I hear you. I do want to be cautious though of stating that there wasn't research used about the times because there was, like Rebecca said, like a year's worth of work and research. And so I just think it's important to review all of that before making that determination, just because there were a lot of people on the board who did it, and the school and
faculty
administration
members.
and faculty
And-
members
and community
district
members,
who did a
yeah.
lot of work
Yes.
into it. So it really, I mean, I think it's important to review that before deciding that the
it's
research
awful.
was ignored, because it was a big commitment from everybody.
Right.
But- And again, I think, we'll find the best way to share that information back out to review.
Yeah, if I may. I mean, it's easy as a student to just go, oh yeah, these are punitive measures. I don't want to get punished for being tardy. I want to be tardy every day. I want school to start 3 hours later so I can sleep in and play video games all night. But, most students, especially if you're on social media, I'll see posts from fellow students who, a week before school starts, they have to experience that existential dread of going, oh man, I need to wake up at 6 a.m. now for, the foreseeable future. And, there's someone I know, I won't explicitly name them, but it's like, they've diagnosed clinical depression, and getting up in the morning is a drag for them. And they just have to deal with that and go, oh man, I need to wake up and go to Algebra 2. And then sit there for 80 minutes trying to keep themselves awake in a class. So that's sort of why I mirror the statement more so that I'm sort of against the punitive measures, but it's very easy to see how it starts from, oh, okay, we need to let's not punish them as much, let's start school maybe a little later, and then that goes, oh wait, we need to have a huge systematic change. It's very easy to spiral out into that, because I feel like the school system hasn't changed too much in quite a long time, because as we move into the future, we're like, okay, we want to focus on learning. We want to focus, how can we make our students great learners? But the system we're constrained in is, how do we make them good workers? How do we have them working in a factory? Which is what our school system has conditioned them into.
Yeah, that's true.
So if it sounds like people have feedback, and I just want to repeat what Dan had shared, is that we start with providing the feedback at the building level, and then we'll take it from there.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other share outs? Yes?
It kind of is in the same vein. I read an article recently about a new method of allowing students with special needs, especially students who suffer from ADHD, to take tests, because a lot of these students have time blindness. And some people have implemented, rather than saying you have unlimited time to take the test, it's called the stopwatch method. And the child is given a stopwatch with the exact same amount of time that all of the other students have, but they are allowed to stop the clock, get up, walk around, come back, start the watch again, and start their test. And this enables them to have a visual, which is something that's missing. ADHD students who have time blindness, having unlimited time is not necessarily better for them, because they just sit there distracted. So I really would like to look into new methods of testing and helping our students and see what we can do. I just thought this was really interesting, because I myself am diagnosed ADHD, and I think this would have been beneficial for me in my childhood in taking tests, because I struggled with time blindness. And I just, sorry, I'm always looking for new methods that might help kids really engage. And this is just something that I wanted to bring forth and have everybody kind of think about and mull over and maybe look into a little bit deeper.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. That's very
Yeah,
interesting.
that's interesting.
Anything else? Okay, I'm going to
No,
make a motion.
round
Oh,
up
go
enough.
ahead. A motion to end.
To executive.
Motion to go into an executive session.
You're supposed to roll your eyes.
Yes. Peter and Kelly.
I can't play poker.